All right, all right. Super excited to have a guest today on this podcast. Rice and I, the CEO of Unisports, have been shooting these in an effort to give information about technology, automation, AI. And today we've got Mr. SharePoint himself, Thurman. Welcome, brother. So glad to have you. So glad to meet you and learn about your story and all things SharePoint, because quite frankly, I don't know that much about it. And so I'm very excited. So welcome to the party that Rice and I have been putting on for a few weeks now.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And I'm more than happy to talk about SharePoint. I can talk about a few things all day, every day, but SharePoint is one of my favorite things to talk about. So yeah, let's do it.
I love it. Well, I would love to get to know you. And so Rice and I met, we co-founded Unisupports, and I got really interested in AI automation and technology about 4 years ago. Rice has spent his entire career doing it, as you guys know each other. Love to hear your story, man.
Yeah, so I'll speed through it. You know what I mean? Born and raised in the Bronx. Then after turning 18 and all my friends are going to college or not going to college, I was like, I got to do something. So I ended up in the Army. Best decision I ever made. I was in boot camp for like 3 months after being told it was only going to be 8 weeks. So that was a whole situation, but it was worth it. I did that in Fort Benning, Georgia. Then went to North Carolina. Then went to Korea. I did a year in Korea. That was cool. They were way ahead with the technology, by the way, because they had like these super cool flip phones. So they had phones already. And then when I came home from Korea, which was 2003, I came home to people not even texting. Like we were texting nonstop on our flip phones in Korea. I came home and texting is still like not a popular thing in America. The phones weren't looking as cool either. And something else, something with technology. They had like in a regular apartment in Korea, what came basic was something like heated floors. So you could walk into your crib at night and it's like freezing, and you could be like, "Well, let me just turn on my floors real quick." It was a
Dude,
whole
isn't
thing.
isn't
It
that
wasn't
wild
like
that the differences? Like
huh?
that's crazy.
Yeah, like rich. It wasn't like a rich thing. Like rich people didn't have this. Is just regular apartment, regular people stuff. But yeah, did Korea. Came home from that. That was a fun time. I had a great time out there, and then I came and started supporting the government as a contractor. Well, I came home and I did the National Guard for a year. Then after the Guard, started supporting the government as a contractor. Been doing it ever since. For a long time, I was an employee. Then I became my own business owner back in 2019. Then I did the business thing full time in 2021. And now here we are. You know what I'm saying?
I love it. I love it. Well,
Enjoying
thank you
life.
for your service, my man. That's
Yeah, yeah.
it's so interesting how I love traveling for that reason, because you pick up other cultures, other ideas, you see how other people are doing it, and you can become a greater version of yourself compared to like living in the bubble of where you come from, you know?
Yes, that is 1000% specific advice that I give to like my little cousins or whoever asks me. I'm like, yo, listen, one of the best things you could ever do is leave your area, because it's very easy to think that your area is how the whole entire world is. You know what I'm saying? Even me coming from, New York. New York is great. I love New York, but New York is not the whole entire world. You know what I mean? It's so different. It's so big. It's so, so many different cultures, so many people, you know what I mean? So many different languages, all of it. You know what I mean? So yeah, I definitely agree. You got to leave your area.
There was a punk. I worked for a Belgian company for a period of time. Grew up in Alabama, moved to Georgia, close to Fort Benning. Worked for a Belgian company, and I lived in Canada, and all of that created this accent that I developed from all these different. And it was like a mutt. People from back home would be like, "Man, who are you? Like, what are you talking?" Just because you pick up little things along the way, and technology and accents and all the different stuff. Cool, man.
Yeah, I believe.
I love it. I love it. Well, could you educate those who don't know, including me, what is SharePoint, and how'd you find yourself in SharePoint?
Well, again, I use this cheesy terminology where I'm like, I didn't pick SharePoint, SharePoint picked me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, matter of fact, even more so, it's not like you know how you could go to college for a certain thing and then you come out and do that thing? There's nothing like that for SharePoint. So, all of us folks who landed in the world of being a SharePoint developer, I would say it chose us because we didn't even know it existed. At least that's my story. I didn't know it existed until They brought it to my organization in 2009. Yeah, they brought it to my organization in 2009. It was SharePoint 2007. But Microsoft's definition is not what I use. They might tell you that SharePoint is a content management system, which that's true. It's a content management system because you can put content on there and manage it. But SharePoint can do like a million different things. And one of the things that I like to talk about a lot is an intranet. And what an intranet is just the internet, except it's only internal to your organization. So right now, it's very possible that you may or may not have a Dropbox account. You may or may not have a Google Drive account. You might have Gmail. You might have, you use Riverside or you use Zoom. You know what I'm saying? You might have Monday.com or what's the other one? Or Asana. Or, you know, all these different tools, maybe even Microsoft Project, you know what I mean? All these tools that you use to run your business or to run, you know, your life or your life as an employee, whatever you do, which is fine. But what SharePoint does, one of the things that SharePoint does is brings it all together. It puts it all in one place on your intranet and makes it very easy for any and everybody, including yourself and your employees, to get access to whatever it is that you need. For instance, if you do use Google Drive, that's fine. Hopefully on Google Drive, you have some type of a strategy for how you build your folders. Most companies probably do not. That's just how it is. But you got some strategy. Let's say you're one of the few. When you go to SharePoint, when a new employee comes to your organization and you tell them, all right, here, go to this link, because you'll send them a link and say, I need you to upload some stuff to the Google Drive, but look at this page first on the intranet. I need you to go check this out first. They go to that page and it says, here's how we use Google Drive. This is the system that we use. You can find these folders in here. If you need to search for this thing, use these key terms. We usually upload everything every Friday. So this is as recent as the most recent Friday. That's how frequent these things are updated. All of that stuff. It's all laid out on a page on the internet. And then at the bottom of that page, there's a button that says, go to the Google Drive. This is something that is missing in a bunch of organizations. And I'm talking about a third-party tool, Google Drive. So even if you have third-party tools, you can still use your intranet to be the one place that keeps all of that stuff together. It just keeps the knowledge for it, keeps the access to it, keeps the management of it all in one place. Now, I would tell you, if you're frustrated with Google Drive, you don't really need Google Drive. You could use SharePoint, because SharePoint also has a feature that lets you manage documents. But SharePoint can do a million things. The first thing I always like to talk about is you can build websites with it and create your intranet for your business.
And your intranet versus internet, your intranet is your organization's in-house playground, sandbox.
Internet. That's the term. I mean, if you could think of the World Wide Web, the intranet is just yours. It belongs to your organization. And you manage the whole entire thing.
And how has it evolved since 2009, you said, when you started using it? What has changed since there?
The version that I used was SharePoint 2007.
Yeah.
But I found out about it in 2009. The way it's evolved, I mean, I don't know what kind of language we could use in this show, but I'll just say that the old SharePoint looked like rear end, if you will. And the new one looks 2 million times better than that. You know what I'm saying? So it looks better. There's a thing inside of the SharePoint world that a bunch of SharePoint developers know, which is organizations and people inside of organizations will come to you and say, hey, I like SharePoint, but can you make SharePoint not look like SharePoint? Because it was terrible. You know what I'm saying? But even as bad as it looked, I still fell in love with it. You know what I mean? I love the tool. But now, these days, it's way better looking. So that's one big change. Number two, another big change, right, is back in the days, you used to have to hit me up or somebody like me in order to get something done on SharePoint. Like you needed access, you needed permission. Somebody could not, just go out there and create their own library. They'd have to hit me up, and then I'd have to, because I had elevated permissions, go and create the library, create a site for them, and then tell them, go do your thing. Microsoft cut that whole entire thing off. They stopped doing that, and they changed it from you needing permission to now you need just education. So the same way that you can just open up Excel or open up PowerPoint and just start using it, you couldn't do that with SharePoint before, but now you can. As long as you have the Microsoft 365 suite It's one of the apps inside of the suite. And now you can just use it. So if you feel like bypassing a developer, you can just do that. You don't have to, hey, developer or admin or whatever, can you develop this thing for me on SharePoint? You don't have to do that. You could just literally go do it yourself, like you would, like how people, get real high speed with macros and Excel and all that stuff. They start building their own programs. You can go build your own thing inside of SharePoint. You don't need a developer to do it anymore. Those are the two big changes. Used to look like cheeks, now it looks better, and now you can do things on your own. You don't need it's about education, not permission.
Rice, I got two more beginner questions before we turn it over to some more sophisticated stuff that you probably know.
Let's do it.
What? So you're a business owner. Who would be like your ideal customer?
So I primarily work with government contractors, business owners, like government contracting business owners, or like the COO or somebody, a decision maker inside of that business. The reason why is because, like I was telling you earlier, I know this industry. Like I know this whole entire world. I've been tied to the government on my, I made the choice to go into the Army when I was 18. Pretty sure they had all my information before then. But since 18, I've been tied to the government. And now I'm like pushing, 44? Yeah, I'm about to be 44 here soon. You know what I'm saying? So I've been tied to the government that whole entire time. I know the world. I know the language. I know the contractors. I know the civilians, which right now, things are sucking right now for these federal employees. And I know a bunch of them personally. You know what I'm saying? This is my world that I've been supporting for a really long time. So primarily, government contractor, business owners, those are my customers. But if you are a business owner and you pay for Microsoft 365 Suite and you are not happy or not feeling like you are getting the most out of your investment, with me, you need to have a conversation because I'll get you taken care of.
All right, Rice, I don't want to sabotage the whole thing. Fire away any good, sophisticated AI automation questions you have for Mr. SharePoint here, our man Thurman.
I think, hey Thurman, I think especially a lot of people who are watching these videos are like some are not tech savvy. So I think, Thurman, let's go a little bit in SharePoint. While I was working for Microsoft, I saw a common thing that was coming up every time that companies had their network folders with their data inside stored. But nowadays, with SharePoint, I think how could we use SharePoint also to solve that issue? Because nowadays, everyone is working remote, everyone is working with cloud solutions. Can we use SharePoint also as a solver for these network folders?
Absolutely. 1,000,000%. The very first step is getting into SharePoint libraries, because SharePoint libraries can host your documents just like these shared drives used to do. But the shared drive, you needed to like go through your company's network in order to get to these shared drives.
Yes.
Where now you don't need that. Now you just need your username and your password and your multi-factor authentication, so maybe your cell phone or something like that, to log in from anywhere and get to your documents. So 1,000%. But also, you gotta like think about this, right? If I wanted you to see a YouTube video, we know literally where to go to see that. It is youtube.com. There's no confusion about that. If I saw a video and I wanted you to see the video, I'd grab the link and I'd send you a link. I wouldn't download the video and then try to send it to you via email. I'd grab the link off of there and I'd send you the link. We both know that there is one central location where all YouTube videos live. It's on youtube.com. This is the same concept that you need to apply to your business. So if there's a document library on your intranet that's, it's called policies, memos, memorandums, whatever you want to call it, I know that if I need to get you a policy, I'm not going to download it, put it in my email and send it to you. I'm going to send you a link and tell you, go check this out. You know what I'm saying? You can't do that with shared drives. Like shared drives, that's an old technology. Look, I'm never going to, talk trash and make it sound like it doesn't work, because I'm a big believer in that, there's people over technology. So even if you have trash technology, as long as your team is right, y'all are going to get some things done. But I'm like, let's take the good team and give them good technology. And now, the sky's the limit at this point. So, yeah, shared drives, I'm not a fan, but we could definitely, SharePoint could solve that problem quickly and easily.
I think also when we use the links from the SharePoint, we don't have to take and notice about the storage, the quotation that the mailboxes can take, because it's an internal network. It's on the internal network. Everyone can go and view the links. You can play with the permission. So yeah, I've seen a lot of companies changing now towards this. But Thurman, there is a question that a lot of people ask is that you have the SharePoint Online and you have the SharePoint on premises. So what is the difference between these two?
The major difference is that SharePoint Online, Microsoft is managing your server. On premise, some third-party company or maybe your organization or whoever, they are managing your servers. They're responsible for all of that. I would tell you you're probably better off just going to the cloud and letting Microsoft handle that for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But some organizations, for various reasons, I know that they're still on premise because, security reasons and a lot of things like that. But that's the big difference. On premise is like it's going to be hosted by and managed by your organization or some third-party organization, where online is you giving that to Microsoft at that point.
And also, Thurman, if you see nowadays, everyone is like, the world is talking about automation. Everything you start up with the day, it's automation. So I know that Microsoft has these Power BI tools. How does SharePoint integrate with these tools?
Easily. Matter of fact, here, let's think of an example. I probably should have came prepared. Let me see. So maybe you work for a baseball team. You work for the local, what is that called again? The local Little League team or whatever. I don't know how they manage all of their information, if there's like one big league and like somebody handles that. But let's just say you work for the local Little League because you love this team. Your kids used to play on it. You used to play on it. It's a whole town thing, right?
Yeah.
So now you internally work for this organization and you have to keep track of a bunch of stuff. So the first thing you would do to get everybody's information available to everybody who works at the Little League team is you create a site. So you have littleleagueteam.sharepoint.com.
Yeah.
That is inside of your Microsoft 365 suite. Everything you need is right there. Now, every time a parent wants to get their kid on the team, you got to collect some information from them. So now you can go into the Microsoft 365 suite and get a Microsoft form. You take the Microsoft form and you create it. You say, hey, I need your name, I need your email address, how old is your kid, this, that, and the third, whatever. You can share a Microsoft form with people outside of your organization. So that's why I would tell you to use a Microsoft form.
Yeah.
You get the Microsoft form and you have it on your public website, because you cannot put, SharePoint doesn't allow you to make public websites.
Yeah.
So you probably have littleleague.com, which is a public website, and you have a button on there that says, sign your kid up. When they hit sign your kid up, the form that you created on Microsoft Form, which looks like a Google form pretty much, they fill that information out. Now, when they fill that information out, here's where the automation comes in. Microsoft has yet another tool inside of the 365 suite. It's called Power Automate. Power Automate, you go into Power Automate and you build a workflow and you say, listen, when people fill out that form, I want you to take the details of that form and put it inside of my SharePoint list, which is kind of like a spreadsheet, but it's in the web and it's on steroids. Yeah. Take the details of that form and put it inside of my SharePoint list. Just do that. So you've now just automated the process of taking the data out of the form and putting it in a SharePoint list. So now, time is going by. You're filling up this list. You are either accepting or rejecting people and then saying, this kid made it, this kid didn't, whatever. You got a long list now of people who have applied to be on the team.
Yeah.
And maybe you keep a status of it like, accepted or rejected or whatever. You got your data inside of your SharePoint list. Now, you mentioned Power BI. Here's what you do with Power BI. You connect Power BI to that SharePoint list and create a dashboard or create a report, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And now this report tells you what's going on in that list. It says how many signups you get per day, how many of them people you rejected, what's the percentage of people, the kids that we've been getting on the team, whatever. You've created a dashboard in Power BI, which is yet another app inside of 365 suite. You created a dashboard, but here's what you did with the dashboard. You took the dashboard or the report, and then you embedded it on your SharePoint site, that main page where everybody goes to get information. You embedded it on that main page because, this is information that you feel is, the whole company can see and it's not a problem. So now you have a main page with a bunch of information that people inside of the organization need. And at a glance, they can see the report. So at this point, we've used SharePoint sites to host the information, Microsoft Forms to collect the information, Power Automate to automate the information coming out of the form and putting it inside of the list, which is SharePoint is another feature of SharePoint is SharePoint List. And then you took Power BI, which is another app, connected it to the SharePoint List data, and embedded it on your SharePoint site. All of these apps are available to you inside of the 365 suite. And that's how I would explain integrating these tools with SharePoint. One caveat, Power BI is not free, like how the rest of these tools come available. You got to pay a premium to get Power BI, but that's Power BI in the web and being able to share it. Power BI, the actual tool, the full-blown Power BI desktop app is a free app. You can download that app today, connect any data you want with it, and build any dashboards you want. You just can't do that process of embedding it on the SharePoint page. But you can export it to PowerPoint or PDF and send it to whoever you want. All that's available.
So I was going to ask if there was too small of a company to use it, but there's really not, right? It can be any size company.
You see things getting out of control with companies that are just 3 people strong. There's 3 people, and you as soon as you don't have your central location and you don't have your processes down, it's very easy to get disorganized amongst 3 people. It's easy to get disorganized as 1 person.
Yeah.
So multiply that by 3. You know what I'm saying?
So I think if someone watching this video they can see that because I know Thurman, let me say like 10 years ago, 8 years ago, there was like Evolution coming. Microsoft was like getting with all these tools, and there are a lot of engineers hired, and I was hired that time. I know when I started with SharePoint, because we had to support that part also, I didn't like the interface. But nowadays, if I look at SharePoint, how it's changed, all these features, etc., I must say it's a big change, and it's very nice to work with. It gives you a nice feeling, a better feeling, and I also see users are getting like adapting it quicker than before. So it's a big change. But I know that a lot of people will be asking something about SharePoint. Let me say I'm at the high school at this moment, and I want to become a SharePoint developer. Because if we go at Google at this time, we search for SharePoint developer salaries, we will see some good salaries coming up. What would you advise a teenager who is looking at this video? What would you advise them to start with to become this SharePoint developer?
Yeah, I would say you need projects. And there's many different ways to go about this, but I'm talking about the way that I learn. I could learn in a general sense. That's cool. But I'm way more better at learning when I have a specific thing that I need to do. That's how I learn. If you go on Upwork or Fiverr, I don't remember if they merged, but whatever. You go on one of these sites, you see the things that people are asking to do. Go and get your own Microsoft 365 tenant. Go get your own tenant. You can go buy one, pay the monthly fee, or there's a developer program where you can get one for free.
Free one.
Or you can use different ways to get them for free. Just you got to do some digging. But the point is, go get that, and then go look at what people are asking to do, and then go do those projects. Go see if you could do it. And then if you get stuck, get on YouTube. YouTube is filled with a bunch of developers who are teaching you how to do certain things. They're giving this stuff away for free. So if you're interested in that, if you get stuck, go to YouTube. If you get stuck, if YouTube is not your thing, if you have a library card, you can use LinkedIn Learning, the whole entire platform, for free. You just put in your LinkedIn, you put in your library card, you get LinkedIn Learning for free. There's a bunch of SharePoint courses on there. Now, they are general, but still, it's good stuff. Then there's like these paid programs where you go in there and you get access to other people. You get access to like some ebooks, a whole bunch of stuff. There's tons and tons of information out there if you want to get started. Now, after you do these things and you have like a real portfolio, you may not have any real world experience, but that is definitely something that you can showcase to organizations. In addition, you can do some things. So about the example about the Little League team, go find your Little League team and ask them, can you do some work for them? Go to your church. Ask them if you could go do some work for them. Does your pops or your moms or your aunt or your uncle or somebody have a business that they use or something they need help with at work? Go do the work and then add that stuff to your portfolio and then use that to promote yourself. LinkedIn is a great place to promote yourself, by the way. I love me some LinkedIn.
What is LinkedIn Learning? What is LinkedIn Learning? I never heard of that.
Oh, that is their. So you ever heard of lynda.com?
Yep.
Lynda.com was bought by Microsoft, and then Microsoft, I think, bought LinkedIn, and then they turned lynda.com into LinkedIn Learning. So if you remember lynda.com, that's all it is. It's just like they bought it and changed the name.
You can see
Didn't know
your
that.
batches over there. You can see your scores over there. So when you are being hired by a company, the company can also view those learnings documents from you. So it's a cool tool to use.
Yeah. On top of that, let me just also say, you mentioned Power BI. You can build a career off of just Power BI, like only Power BI. You don't need SharePoint. You don't need Power Automate. You don't need Microsoft 365. Just Power BI. If you could build some like really nice dashboards that can speak to these business owners, you say, let me come in real quick. You know what I'm saying? You give me access to your data, which is, that's a stretch. But if you know what they might or might not be handling, go and get you some fake data and build some dashboards. You can go to, I cannot remember. There's a place that I go. Wait, hold on. Say my shortcuts. You can get Makaru. Makaru.com, straight up free data. You can go and like structure your own data, do an export, and then put it into your app and then go use it. Great site. It's 100% free, by the way.
Nice, Thurman. Nice. And I hope everyone who's watching this video take notes of this information because it's from someone who has
take notes.
experience, and this information is very, very important. And Thurman, something that I know we talked about before also in the LinkedIn is how do you see this AI, like there's a big noise of AI about automation. How do you see this AI, and do you think that AI together with SharePoint, there will be like new solutions coming up, or do you see that AI can help some of these SharePoint topics to solve?
Yeah, I do. So first question, how do I see AI and all these people talking about it? I think some people really know what they're talking about and some people don't. You know what I'm saying? Like there is a lot of people that do really good research, a lot of testing, all of that stuff, and they really know what they're talking about. Then there's other people who don't do any of that stuff. They kind of like parrot what they hear other people talk about, and they don't really, have a good idea of what AI could do. I don't know. That might be a description for pretty much any field. I don't know. But that's how I feel. That's how I feel about AI. You know what I'm saying? Now, I think AI is a great tool, but I also think that you have to make things appeal to regular people. And ChatGPT did a really good job of doing that. It was just like, yo, listen, go to this website and at the bottom, type in damn near anything and watch what it can do. This is easy. This is what people need. That's the bottom line people. That's just the regular workers of the world who need to use something to, speed up their productivity. Now, when we start talking about like building agents or programs or whatever and all this other stuff, that is a different level of people who are going to probably start to build their career in AI. And I'm looking forward to this. You know what I'm saying? To the good part of AI, because if you probably see me on another show or shows or my own show, every now and then I'll mention, all this does is remind me of Terminator 2. Even though I like technology and I like AI, but come on, man, let's be serious. This is
Dude, I don't know where it stops. That's the problem. I don't know where it stops.
I don't know either. You know what I'm saying?
I have to say good side only, thinking good side, frame it with the good, and then dream from there. Right?
Yeah. I'm very much in support of a good use of AI. You know what I'm saying? But there's people out there that's gonna screw it up eventually. AI with SharePoint. So the way I look at SharePoint and the things it could do, and we were talking about all these, features that's coming out. I'm always like, how can I pass this on to my customer? Microsoft could drop 100 new features, and they all could be cool, and I could like them, and I could talk about them. But if they do not speak to me in a way where I say, okay, look, my customer could use this right now, let me go show them, then it's not, what's the word? I don't want to say valuable, but for lack of a better word, I'll say it's not that valuable to me. Because what's valuable to me is something that I can take to my customer and say, you should probably start doing this. Right now, AI inside of Microsoft, aka Copilot, their AI solution, is not where I think it needs to be yet. There are people who are using it and getting a lot of juice out of it because they're taking the time to learn it, to get in there and to do those things. My customer is not that. My customers are not developers. My customers are business owners and decision makers who ain't got time for all of that. You know what they got time for? They got time for ChatGPT. That is a cool, easy, quick app that they could just keep on their phone and be like, I need to respond to an email to this big dog, and I don't want to mess it up. Hey, can you help me write this email? That is a practical, real use that they can use immediately. So I tell my folks about what they can do with ChatGPT all the time. Copilot, I'm using it, testing it out, but I don't think it's there yet for, my customer, the type of people I talk to. It'll get there, but it's not there yet. That's my opinion. Somebody else might tell you it is there. Not in my opinion.
If somebody's using Google Suite and the G Drive and all that, is it and or SharePoint, or can you integrate them, or is SharePoint a replacement for like G Suite?
Both. So if you wanted to not use Google Drive anymore, then SharePoint allows you to have SharePoint libraries. If you did not want to use Gmail anymore, SharePoint has their email solution. You know what I mean? Everybody knows about Exchange, Outlook, and all that.
Yeah.
If you didn't want to use Google Forms, where Microsoft stole the idea from, then you could use Microsoft Forms. You know what I'm saying? But if you can think about, I like all of these apps in Microsoft 365, including SharePoint, but I'm not giving up my Gmail. This is how you can use them in conjunction. But if you're like, I don't really like Gmail, I'd rather use Outlook, that's your decision. You can do that. That's why I said you can replace it, or you can go with and or. Now the thing is that I think Google has something like this, but not really. Google can't produce an intranet for you, not today. SharePoint is the backbone of your intranet.
Yeah.
Building a website and having all of these things on a website, that's a website that you customize, you design, you do all that stuff. That you could do in 365. You can't do that in Gmail that I know of.
Oh, that's good.
I mean, you can't do that in the Google Suite, G Suite.
I also think that if you look at the Google Suite and you look at the Office 365 side, is that you can have the offline applications also on your desktop without the internet. You can use them, because some Google site you have to have the internet to go to your Google Sheet, etc., enter document information. So that is like on the Microsoft side a lot better. But let me say, Thurman, I've been using Office 365 a long time already. But my question is that I had is, let me say we create a SharePoint site with an internal site with different departments, HR, finance, sales, with their work process flows, everything. And by some mistake, the site gets deleted. Is there in SharePoint, how long does SharePoint save this information so that we can restore it back?
Oh yeah, so the recycle bin gives you 30 days.
Okay.
I believe. Something gets deleted, you get 30 days on this recycle bin. Then there's a backup recycle bin in case something gets deleted out of the, like when you do your 30 days and it's like, this thing is deleted permanently. I believe there's a backup recycle bin. But my recommendation is don't even let it get to backup recycle bin at this point, because at that point, I think you have to reach out to Microsoft to help you out.
And
so
that's a headache, I think, because I have seen cases where we had customers calling. I was supporting Dutch customers a lot at the time, and it went to the second recycle bin. And man, even they restored the files back, it was not the same like it was the first time. So it's a good point, Thurman, you said that. So guys, remember, as Thurman said, don't let it go to the second recycle bin. Otherwise, you will have a lot of issues. So that's a nice step to take away today also.
Yeah. Don't let your stuff get to the second recycle bin.
Hey, Thurman. Oh, sorry, Rice. Go ahead.
No, Andy. Good, you can go.
I'm just super curious about LinkedIn because I've been doing it for 5 years. I wanted to get your hot take because you bring some energy. I want to see how are you using LinkedIn today?
I post every few days.
Okay.
But I tell stories on LinkedIn because if I'm, let's be, for real. LinkedIn is not fun like these other apps. They just don't got it yet. You know what I'm saying? They don't got the juice that these other apps have. Like the other apps, they're just so much more entertaining. You know what I'm saying? what we're doing on LinkedIn, we know what we're doing on LinkedIn. What we're doing on LinkedIn is like this cheesy workplace thing. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's super important to not bring the cheesy workplace thing to LinkedIn. I think I do a good job of that. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Because when I get on there, I tell stories. I'm just like, yo, listen, imagine if Sean had this business and Alicia wanted him to send some emails to him or send some information. Instead of using emails, she should just, put that, he should just put this stuff on SharePoint or whatever. Then every Saturday, I put a post out where I don't talk about work. I'm like, yo, listen, we've been talking about work all week. This is just something I started way back. I started this a couple years ago on LinkedIn. Haven't missed a Saturday. At least I don't think I have. Where I'm like, listen, we've been talking about work all week. Let's just talk about something regular. You know what I'm saying? Something different. So I do that too. And then I'm posting about business. I'm definitely doing that. But trying not to be too blended in. Like, I don't want to blend in. I'm not good at, blending in anyway. So I try to use LinkedIn in a way that is like fun for me, because if it wasn't fun, I wouldn't do it. Now, if I was to give advice about how to use it, I would say the very first thing you need to do is know why you're there. Are you there to get followers? I can't help you, because while my follower count is growing, I don't even care about that. If you're there to do business and earn money, then tell people how you can help them. Tell stories, use videos, whatever the point is, tell them literally how you can help them. And that's what I do. My posts are very customer centric, where 9 times out of 10, what I'm posting is something that will tell you how I can help you. And then, my call to action is going to be book a call with me or DM me or follow for more information or repost this, whatever. Always have a call to action. Don't leave people hanging. Tell them what to do in your post somewhere, at the bottom, at the top, whatever, because literally people listen. If you say follow me for more, they'll follow you for more. If you don't say follow me for more, chances are they'll read it and move on, but you got a higher chance of making people follow you if you say follow me for more. Or if you say, listen, I could talk about this, but click here if you want to have a call, or click here to get this thing off my email list. Be extremely intentional about what you need people to do, and before you do that, you have to know why you're there. Like, literally, what are you there for? And I'm there specifically to build business. That's it.
I love it. What about you on all the other platforms as well? YouTube, because you have a lot of energy, man. Like, you make this fun.
I'm on YouTube. Matter of fact, the last video that I dropped was I explained how you can use SharePoint, but I used the Avengers. So I'm like, yo, if the Avengers, had to, manage a mission, this is how they would do it.
It was a nice one, I must say.
I appreciate that.
The content, I have been following Thurman for like maybe 4 years already. The content he posted is something that you can learn from. It's not that he makes like a lot of promises, hey, making like 10 millions in 3 days. No, he places content that is like realistic, you can learn from. And I also went to 1 or 2 of his podcast shows, and they're quite nice. He has a lot of energy, so I enjoyed it, and I also learned a lot of him. So I think today the people learned a lot about SharePoint. They learned a lot about Microsoft, about the LinkedIn learning, also about what they can do if they want to be a developer. And most important, you gave a bonus today at the end, how they can use LinkedIn to hit those business owners, those companies, and those people to get like clients or get great followers that are not following them because of the fake promises they make, but to learn something from you or from someone else. So Thurman, it was nice, man, today, and I think Andy also enjoyed it. We learned also a lot.
Yeah, man, I did. This was a good time. I appreciate
Mr. SharePoint, you're getting a new follower today, and a real one who's looking for value. That's myself.
Oh, good deal. I like that.
And be part of your journey, my man, because this was great. So thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Thurman. And
all right, guys.
I hope we can have a show one day again. And we're looking forward to all those content you're posting that we also can learn from you and get to be better SharePoint experts also. Thank you.
All right, good deal. Yeah.
Dude, you're our first and best guest ever. So love it.
Yes.
Good deal.
Yes.
Glad to be here. Thanks so much.
All right, boys,
thank you, man. Have a good one.
See you guys.
Bye-bye.
All right.